All right, welcome in. Musso at the box. I was a wet blanket on what was a great day in LSU athletics. Major congratulations to the gymnastics team winning their first national championship in program history and a really dominant closeout of their event. And for LSU baseball, more of the same, specifically on the mound. Just really, really disappointing that this team has not one shred of consistency this year. It's not anything new. We've talked about it plenty throughout. They have not one shred of consistency to this ball club. LSU won back-to-back games with the win over New Orleans and the win over Mizzou. And that was the first time they had won back-to-back games since they beat Southeastern in the midweek and then beat Florida in game one. So you're talking March, right? You have not won back-to-back games in conference play yet, and it's because of what you saw today. And I'll tell you right now, that is the most crushing one of them all so far for this team, where you have a absolute gem from Gage Jump in game number one. You have the offensive onslaught that you do. You play arguably your best game of the year, and you turn the page and have Luke Holman, who's been your best pitcher going, and you get this out of the pitching staff today. You do not get the tone set from your quote-unquote ace. You allow seven out of 8 runs with 2 outs, which at this point is just beating the dead horse when talking about that issue with this team. And you get that with the ace on the mound. That is just crushing against a team that is, a game or so, 2 games better than you in the standings that you need to beat in order to move forward, to try and turn this around. There's just no consistency. None with this ball club. And it's not surprising. It's not anything new. But I'll be damned if that is not just crushing today for this team. They have a hell of a chance tomorrow. We'll talk about that. They've got all the arms you could possibly want. But when you look at today, and we can talk about the offensive struggles that they had early in the game, because they had plenty. They left 5 guys on base in the first 4 innings. But I look at that offense, and I also see them. They had to face Mizzou's ace in Pimental, and he was awesome today. He was really good. The secondary stuff shined, and that made the day for him. That made the day for him. The changeup was good. The breaking ball was as advertised, and he stranded LSU runners left and right in the first 5 innings. So hat tip there. You go to, you get into that bullpen. You're facing Rustad, who's been one of their best relievers, and you end up scoring six runs against the bullpen. That's a positive for this offense. And that's why you highlight the struggles again with 2 outs for this team. 7 of the 8 runs. If you get off the field once, you're winning. You're winning the game. If everything plays out the way that it did, and I understand that's all hypothetical, and you can't just go with that, but I guarantee you that's what Jay's telling the team. If you get off the field one time there, look at how this game started for LSU. It's the same problem we've talked about over and over and over again this year. The first pitch of the game, Luke Holman hits the leadoff batter. And then you allowed 2 2-out runs in that inning. You had an error at shortstop. It's the same bad movie over and over and over again. And that, unfortunately, set the tone. You credit LSU's offense in the second. They cut the lead in half, but they left the bases loaded. But you cut the lead in half. Okay, Can Luke Holman settle in and get you back in the dugout quickly and get the offense back out there? No, you give up another run with 2 outs. Like, you give up another run with 2 outs. It happened in the 8th. How big is that home run that Micah Bucknam gives up in the 8th inning? It's 7-4. But you give up that home run. It's 8-4. You scored 3 in the 9th, which would have tied the game at 7. There's so many things to look at with this staff and just be disappointed with in this game. Especially because the offense didn't quit. And a major hat tip them. It's been really nice to see them hit home runs with guys on base this weekend. That's now, they've hit, 7 homers. I believe 4 of them with runners on this week. Like, that's a major positive for this team. And I'll tell you the other thing that makes it so disappointing with the pitching staff right now is, quite honestly, the last handful of games, they looked like they were finally starting to take a step forward. And you get that today. I mean, that's just, it's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. And again, we can talk about the struggles the offense had early in the game, and fine, yes, but that is not why you lost today. It absolutely is not. You lost today because you allowed 7 of 8 runs to score with 2 outs. You lost today because you issued 8 free passes, 4 walks, and 4 hit batters. And a lot of those were with 2 outs, which jump-started the rallies. Like, I see a lot of you asking, I even sat here in the preview and said, LSU's not good enough to sweep anybody. Why am I upset? This is why I'm upset. Because Missouri did not win this game today. LSU lost this game today. You gifted them everything. You did. 8 free passes. Forgive me, I haven't gone to look how many of them came with 2 outs, but a lot of them did. So, that's why. Not because I was expecting LSU to sweep. I wasn't. I picked LSU to win 2 out of 3, but I was expecting LSU to win today behind Luke Holman. That's what I'm expecting. And I see a lot of you asking about Jay Johnson's bullpen decisions, and we'll get to that. Because ultimately, sure, you lost today, and some of them are head-scratching. I get it. I understand a lot of them, and it's because of what it sets you up to do tomorrow now. And when you look at the bullpens and the staffs, LSU should have the pitching advantage tomorrow. But I don't know how you can feel confident in that, given what you saw today. So, that's why it's upsetting. Because you lost with your horse on the mound. And you handed Missouri a lot on a silver platter. So, that's 10 hits. And look, I'll credit Missouri for that. Like, when you gave them opportunity, they took advantage of it. So, hat tip to Missouri there. But 8 free passes is unacceptable compared to just 4 strikeouts, by the way. 8 free passes, 4 strikeouts. Gage Jump struck out 14 of these guys by himself last night. Nate Yeske didn't make a trip to the mound last night. It's just, for something that should have been the strength of this team, to have struggled the way it has top to bottom this year is just really, really struggling. It's really, really disappointing is what I was looking for. And it's not everyone. Like, there are guys making strides. Like, it wasn't great for Cam Johnson to start, but he got out of that inning unscathed. That's a positive for a guy like that. Aiden Moffitt was put into a really tough spot, gave up the hits, settled in nicely. That's a positive for a guy in the future, but it's not doing you any good right now. And that's the big problem. All right, let's talk about the pitching decisions, and then we'll look for tomorrow, and we'll try to get to some comments here. But I'm also not going to lie. I have dinner sitting on the counter, and I'd like to eat that. But in lieu of me eating right now, do me a solid, smash the like button. That would be greatly appreciated. And let's talk about some of the pitching decisions. So I get it. Let's see. When Aiden Moffett came in, that would have been in the 5th inning. Let's see. Let's go to the 5th inning here. And Moffett comes in. It is a 4-1 ball game at that point. A lot of people are going to ask, why not Griffin Herring? Totally understand the question. Like, totally not, there are no stupid questions. It's a very good question. You're just not going to go to him in a 3-run deficit. It's that simple. And Aiden Moffett pitched well last week on the road. Like, I can be okay with that move. I can be okay with that move coming off the last few outings that Aiden Moffett had, especially the ones against Tennessee, that type of lineup, on the road in a much more hostile environment. To bring him in, I can be okay with that move. And after that, it didn't go well, and you're definitely not bringing Herring in when you're down 7-1. They rolled the dice there, and after that, you weren't going to a top arm. But you held steady after, like, the important, like, what Aiden Moffett did after that inning. What Aiden Moffett did after that inning is why they went to him. They were hoping he'd have that sharpness right out. He didn't. Again, I can understand it, so I won't crush the choice. Like, if they would have gone to somebody like, no, for sure, Edward O, you're right. It did. I can be okay with the move, and it ends up being costly. But that's the thing, though, right? If I can look at it and go, okay, I understand what he's going for there. Like, if Moffett goes in there and gives you what he gave you the next 2 innings, and you escape that jam and you start to make this comeback, you have Herring ready to go then. Like, it wasn't a forfeit. It's, okay, can you go hold, to use a Skip Bertman line, hold the rope, and then you can use your horse at the back end to win the game, to close it out. That's the thinking there. So I understand it. But yes, it did. It was costly. That's a great point. If LSU would have done something like, go to Justin Lure or Micah Bucknam in that spot, that's when I really would have been like, okay, I don't understand that move. But they didn't. They went to a guy who had been pitching well, and he just didn't have it immediately. But he steadied the ship and ultimately allowed you to try and make a comeback. So that's my thought on that. Like, that's my thought behind it. It's the same thing we talked about with pulling Holman last week and bringing in Herring. Okay, we're running Griffin Herring. Like, and there's your perfect example. He brought Herring in a deficit, trying to go all in to win that game, which was the correct move, by the way. It didn't work. You lost, and then you didn't have him for Sunday. He wasn't going to do that again, already having won 1 game in the series. So I get it. Yes, it was costly. I get it. What was more costly was just all the runs with 2 outs. By the way, all those scored with 2 outs as well. And how many leadoff guys reached today for Missouri? Let's dig into that. Why not? 3 of 8. It's actually not that bad. It was more the two out runs in the walks today for the LSU pitching staff. All right. Where do they go from here tomorrow? I mean, they have a decision to make on the mound. Ackenhausen started last week. I think it's real easy for me to sit here and be like, start Griffin Herring. And to be quite clear, that's what I would do. I would start Griffin Herring. You've seen him extend. Like, he can give you 70, 80 pitches. Does that get you through 5? I don't know. His value has been so great out of the bullpen that I will understand if they do not start him. You could very well see Nate Ackenhausen get the start, or maybe even a Cade Anderson get the start. I think losing this game today eliminates Anderson, and you're going to go with a more proven veteran commodity like Nate Ackenhausen again. But it wouldn't surprise me if this is the time they decide to pull the trigger and start Griffin Herring. But we'll see. So that's what they have. But I mean, they have Herring, Ack, Hurd, Guidry, Anderson. Like, they've got plenty of capable arms to go win a game tomorrow. But when you look at this team, and they've lost 6 straight game 3s dating back to the Xavier series, I don't blame you if you don't have confidence. It's hard to have confidence. One of the differences I will say here is you're not coming off a gut-wrenching loss. You came off one where your rally just fell short. So maybe they're able to get off the mat and get over the hump tomorrow. But we'll have to see. The other interesting thing is Missouri used one of their best bullets out of the bullpen in Rustad to win this game. And then the guy they brought in after that, Magic, or however they were saying his name, they mentioned that's a guy who has normally only pitched once in a weekend. And we highlighted him in the preview as somebody who had really, really been a strong contributor in conference play. That's really when they kind of inserted him. So we'll see if they go back to him. But the thing to keep in mind there is LSU took some good swings off him, and now they've seen him. Like, everyone's gotten a look at him. You have something to go back, a report to go back and look at. That does matter. LSU's got plenty of arms available tomorrow. Missouri will probably start Mayer on the bump. That's probably who they will go to, and so for him so far. I mean, Pimental was their best arm from a starting perspective, and again, he threw five really good innings. So I think tomorrow it's either Herring or Ackenhausen. I don't think it goes any further than that from a starting decision. It would not surprise me if it was either guy. I would probably pull the string right now and go Herring, just because I think he's your best chance to get deep into the ball game. I mean that's why. So I understand his value out of the bullpen. I get it. We talked about that earlier in the year on the podcast, and like why you wouldn't start him. But tomorrow, considering you have to win this series, and he's your best available arm left. I'm throwing him out there and hoping he can get you off to a great start. So that's what I would do. If y'all got any questions, we have a few minutes left. We can go ahead and get to some of them. Here, got 136 people watching. Love that. Y'all smash the like button if you could. That would be greatly appreciated. If we can get that number up a little bit more. S. Young, tomorrow is win or die. It actually feels like that. And like I said, you're never going to hear me say it's totally over until they have no more games left to play. But I mean, the math already does not work in your favor. You lose this series tomorrow, and my God, it is just the math continues to not work. It gets worse. Like, the math gets worse. Hi Calvinist, how does this team compare to 2020 football? Well, I'll answer that, but I'll throw this out. They're completely different sports. Like, I think we go through that a lot. Those are totally different scenarios from a sport perspective, but there's a lot of scenarios that they would be comparable, where you look at 2019 and 2023 being historic teams that set draft records, being arguably the best teams in the history of that program. 2019 is actually not arguable at all. It is the best team in the history of LSU football. And for my money, I would say that the 2023 baseball team is, from a talent and record perspective, records that they set perspective, that they are as well. So you definitely have that. You're replacing a lot, and not just a lot of good players, a lot of veteran and generational talents. So those similarities are also there. And then the fact that LSU football fell flat on their face, and the baseball team has done that as well. That is also, unfortunately, a similarity. One of the differences that I can continue to have hope for the future is Jay Johnson's a good coach, where Ed Orgeron was not a good head coach. Ed Orgeron's a good football coach. Like, he understands the technique. He was not a good head coach. Jay Johnson, I do believe, is a very good head coach. He's won everywhere he's been. Like, this year is a huge outlier from years past for him at multiple different spots. Like, the skins are on the wall there. But sure, I mean, there's a lot of similarities from the good of the previous year to the bad and the reasons for it when you consider draft replacements and things like that. So, sure, yeah. I mean, that's definitely something. That's definitely something there. But I mean, we'll just see. And yeah, Carl the Cat, that matters. 3 different pitching coaches in 3 years, that matters. Like, that's when we had the Nate Yeski conversation earlier in the year. That's one of the things we talked about, where it's like, if it's some guys are on their 3rd different, others are on their 2nd different, it's a different message. And sometimes it takes a while for that to take. And I think you're seeing that right now. It's interesting with Yeski. I know everybody wants his head on a platter, and I get it. Like, I get it. I know everybody wants the man gone. But the big problem is you're not seeing you're not seeing the overall success, but you are seeing certain guys take a step forward. And that's where it becomes a little difficult in a sense there. I did see one that I wanted to respond to. Where'd it go? Oh, no, I hope that didn't get deleted. Oh, man, because I really wanted to mention the guy by name. Oh, no. Oh, there we go. GameCube Man said, yeah, talking about the football baseball team. Yeah, and they both have coaches that were overrated that lucked into some legendary talent. Yeah, I guess Jay Johnson lucked into Chris Bryant at San Diego, too, huh? Chris Bryant sucked. He was terrible. Well, I bet he paid for him out of the transfer portal, huh? Get out of here. Get out of here, dude. Stop it. Just at LSU alone, he's had 1 number 1 recruiting class, and the class coming in is also ranked number 1. Guy coached Chris Bryant. Guy coached people like Bobby Dahlbeck. But you go on and on. Stop with the lucked into great talent crap. That is such a bullshit excuse that people want to throw out right now. That is so damn lazy and bad. Bad. All right, guys. Yeah, I'm not saying the blame doesn't go on him, GameCube roster. That's not what I'm saying at all. And I think we've handed out plenty of blame this year all around. But to say the guy lucked into talent when he's recruited and a guy like a Golden Spikes winner to San Diego, are we really thinking this guy doesn't know how to get talent to places? Come on. I mean, come on. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be frustrated. Come on. Yeah. That sucked, y'all. I mean, gosh. All right. Tigers lose 8-7. The Gymnastics team was awesome. They won a national championship. That was great. Loved seeing that. Another congratulations. We started the show giving them a hat tip. We'll give them another. See if LSU can go win a series tomorrow. It's going to be not an easy watch, but it's a really, really important game for them tomorrow, and that's understating. I understand, but that's where they are. Y'all be on the lookout for the full weekend recap, of course, as always. Hopefully it's on a higher note than today. They've got plenty of arms, and the offense has been really good this weekend. I'm sure the Park will play offensive tomorrow, and hopefully you can get some more homers. Y'all smash the like button on the way out. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm going to go eat dinner, and I hope y'all had a great dinner, and we will do that full weekend recap tomorrow here on Moose with the Box. So get subscribed and smash the like. It's greatly appreciated.